Okay, I think we're good again, but it was just having issues connecting, which I'm not sure. I've never actually had that happen to me. I'm gonna log in on my other device, and then I'm gonna get started with some of the filler. I'm pretty excited for this one. I have a good feeling about it. Of course, I'm not entirely sure how this is gonna turn out, but there's only one way to find out, and that is by building it. And we are good. So we got one viewer, which is me. I'm gonna go throw it on some filler, and then I'm gonna probably start working on some other part of this, but I do already have the frame done because that's what I normally do on these mocks. I think I'm gonna have this be about four in, so just get that ready. It's gonna go that way, then there's gonna be a little approach this way. Of course, I'm not entirely sure. Just gonna kind of go see how this goes. Again, we are still at one viewer, but that's no biggie. Normally doesn't pick up until a little bit later. Okay, you're about 2 minutes in. I'm not sure if that connection issue will catch up to me or something, but that did sort of flash at the beginning, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. Okay, I'm actually not going to do that because I need to place in a couple of parts in here. Do I not have... I feel like I have 1x2 snot pieces, but I just can't find them for some reason, which is kind of weird because I did have a lot of them. There's one. Again, we're still at 1. I'm hoping this connection issue isn't a problem, but of course that flashed right as I was beginning this thing, so you never know with these streams. Okay, I'm gonna actually start with this trench layout, just try to get it sort of figured out as I'm going along. This one's gonna be like a skinny little trench that sort of snakes through. I'm gonna have a soldier that's kind of just crouching in here, trying to find cover because there's gonna be Germans approaching. Can I have a shout out? Okay, shout out that Timmy. Welcome to the stream. That's probably good. Again, I'll just actually angle that so that you can see what I'm doing, but okay, so I sort of have a plan here. I'm gonna start with this in here, and it's gonna kind of grow as the trench gets bigger. But we're starting with a smaller sort of trench. I'm gonna make sure that I put some piece in there. Hello, Damos. I think I remember you from another stream, so welcome. I didn't actually put out a warning, but I think you guys get the picture. I stream at almost the same time, so I'm gonna make sure that the minifig does fit in there before I do anything else. Oh yeah, that looks good. I do like that. Okay, so that's pretty good. And we actually at 19, now we're back down to a reasonable amount at 4. So I'm gonna experiment a little bit more with this, but my plan is it's gonna kind of end up over here. It's gonna be a couple of smaller trenches and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to find some parts that I can put in here. Now, I will need a lot of dark tan for this one, just to kind of add to the areas, because this was kind of a muddy, not too nice trench area. That's what I'm kind of trying to portray here. if I can even get this quite right. I might need to use all just blank tiles and stuff like that in here. You already have 1 like, so thank you to whoever liked. Okay, so if I do that and then finish it off with one of these tiles, that should be fine. It's going to be a little bit rougher on the other areas of this, but that should be fine. Okay, so something like that, and then that should be fine. It's actually going pretty well so far. Hello, Taper Petite. Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, I just got to find a couple of parts in here. It's going to end off like that, because if I can connect it on both sides like that, then that'll kind of finish it up nicely. But of course, I just do got to do that. Let me make sure that I add in enough texture in this trench system so that it ain't boring. But I'm gonna actually work on this back wall too. That's another important part of this trench system. I do kind of like the idea of a curved trench there. So we were at 5, now we're back. Ooh, it's at 9 right now on my other thing. I'm not sure which one's more accurate. It's always a little bit scattered. Yeah. Okay, so this is already going pretty well. I'm gonna get this guy in here just to make sure that I'm getting all these proportions right. But for right now, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna actually start getting some of this snot technique in here, if I can. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Throw down a couple more parts. Back up to 5. It's actually pretty consistent here, so that's always good. That's good, and I'll find one more part that I can throw in there. I'm just trying to round this up before I can even finish it, just to make sure that it all looks alright. I might have to include some weirder parts in here. I'm not sure how I'm going to exactly do this. I'm going to take that back out because that's an important part. I can just replace all of those slanted pieces. You see, I do want to preserve my tiles, so I'll not actually do anything with those. Okay. Yeah, God, which I'm pretty sure means good. So, thank you. Okay, there are the pieces. I'm so confused. I just reorganized all my parts because it was an absolute mess after my stop motion that I filmed. But this is kind of my problem. Anytime I reorganize it, I find a better way to organize stuff, and it just mixes up with my mind what I had there before. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure that I can fill this in all right. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect when you're doing stuff like this, but I try to get it decent. I have a couple of these parts over here, so I'm just going to use a couple of those. And if I do that, then I can just take that part out, I believe. Maybe move it over there, but that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And we're gonna throw down one more, maybe another one. I have plenty of these like studded parts. I'm just trying to preserve some of my other ones because I don't actually have a lot of them. I'm not sure where they all go because I normally have a lot, but I don't know. I just get rid of them somehow. So if I throw that in there, and then I can create another slant going this way. I feel like that's probably going to be the best way to do this. So I'm going to get that done real quick. This trench is the hardest part of this. After that, it'll kind of be a little bit easier, but I only say a little bit here because it's still not going to be easy. Okay. So again, I'm just going to grab a couple of parts, throw them down, and then repeat the process. So it's only going to get a little bit smaller near the middle, and that's kind of my plan here. It's not going to be too complex on this side. Just going to be kind of tying it up, making sure that nothing looks off. Oh, so that's the problem there. This part is getting in the way. Now, I feel like I could easily just include a different part in there, which I think that's what I'm going to do. Hello, Taper Petite. I think you're already in here. Maybe you just came back. I don't know. Okay, so that should be good. That does actually look very good. I'm pretty happy with that. I like the kind of cramped feel that I'm able to put in here. I feel like that looks pretty good. Kind of captures what the trenches of Stalingrad would have probably looked like. So that's all good. Then throw down another one of those, and oh shoot, don't want to drop that one. Me happy too. I'm glad you're happy. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in one more part in there, maybe a couple more, if I can figure out how this will work. And that should finish it up. So that's basically it for this trench, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. Now that the hardest part is done, I'm just going to tile this off and make sure that it all looks decent, and then I'm going to move on to the next part probably. If I can actually figure out how to do all this. No, I feel like it does look like an organic trench. It doesn't look really too unnatural, so that's all good. That's kind of what I look for when I make stuff like this. I don't want stuff to look unnatural because I feel like it breaks away from the illusion. Okay, I'm going to throw in a couple of these parts just to clear up this edge. And that should provide a space for that part. Maybe. Yeah, that works fine. Okay, so we're back down to one viewer, which is not great, but I don't know what I expect when I make these. This is about average for this point. Okay, so that's pretty good. I see what the problem was there. It would have overlapped, which wouldn't have worked. So that's probably the explanation. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to fit some parts in here. Make sure this all looks all right. I might try to make another section over there that's a different color, like maybe pavement or something. This is going about how I expected it to, honestly. I didn't stream last week, so people might not be expecting one this week. That might be it. Okay, so I do that, then maybe throw another part down. 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna throw down a part. 3 viewers, which is back around normal. We're still at 1 like. I've had better streams, but this one's still going pretty well so far. At least we got some chats. Some streams I'm literally just talking to myself. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna throw some parts in here. Get this all looking nice. And then, after I'm done with this section, I can probably move on to something else. But it's looking pretty good right now. I'm pretty happy with this trench shape. And I feel like it blends in very nicely. 7 viewers, 2 likes. It's like midway through. I'm kind of, well, not midway through, but a decent chunk of the way through, and 7 viewers is decent. And another like, so that's all good. That was like a huge jump. I'm not sure if it's spazzing out or something, but that's good. Okay, so we kind of have this section done, and I'm pretty happy with the shape of the trench. But yeah, we're sitting at around 5. I do keep kind of losing my train of thought. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do a dark red building here. It kind of fades into that area over here. That would probably look pretty good. But again, I do kind of have to finish this before I do anything else. Or at least I feel like that's probably the right way to go about this. So I'm going to grab a couple of pieces here that are going to be pretty important. I have a whole bunch of these parts here. I just got them from sort of ripping apart one of my other mocks. Hello, Glenn Glegg. I do play Roblox. I like a lot of building games on there. It's kind of what I do, honestly. I like building, if you can tell. But yeah, I do play Roblox. I haven't played recently, and I don't really remember my full user. I think it's something Brady. It's not actually my name, but yeah. Oh, nice. I'm going to add some barbed wire in here. I'm going to try to get this area kind of fleshed out, because I'm pretty happy with it right now, but it could be a little bit better. I might later, but right now I am building, so maybe in a little bit. Not right now. I don't know how else to say it. I'm kind of occupied when I'm building this stuff. I'll do it later. No, you don't gotta worry. It's all right. I'm not doing it right now. I'm just gonna ignore you if you keep asking. I don't have time either. I gotta get this done in an hour, and then I gotta go and do something else. fine. Okay, anyways, back to what I'm doing here. I'm just going to try to get some more parts in here, and I'm going to try to position this sniper in the upstairs of a building up here. It's going to be kind of trying to pick off some Germans that are approaching up the street. Of course, I'll add that in a little bit later. And we are just going to make sure that we finish this off. Of course, this is all filler, so you won't actually see this. It is probably the ugliest part of building. Okay, so basically what I want to do here is I'm going to work on this part of this thing first. And what I'm going to do is I'm just making sure I have enough parts in here for this red building. And I think I do. I'm just going to build up like the basic idea of this. So it's going to be a basic brick base over here. I'm going to see if I can get some parts in there. Shout out Mafioso Clips for joining the stream. I think I'm actually going to try to find some tan parts. And that should be fine if I throw that in there. Okay. And then that is fine. So I'm gonna finish this off with probably another little smooth plate if I can find one. Of course, I am sifting from a little bit away, so I'm not sure I'll be able to find one. That's probably fine. All right. I did play Rivals, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan anymore. A lot of games die out nowadays. It's just kind of what they do. Especially like some of the biggest ones, like Steal a Brain Rot. I know that was huge. I never really played it. I think I joined my friend like once. I was not a big fan. But I've heard that's kind of died down. Yeah, so probably gonna try to find some parts and throw them in. So that's probably good. I'm gonna grab another single part in here. I don't play Steal a Brain Rot. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like all those Brain Rot games, they always seem a little bit gimmicky. Going off of... I don't play like mean games. I like games that are just kind of fun to progress in. Of course, there are specific games that I don't play, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird sometimes. So I'm going to throw down 1 or 2 more parts in here. I'm going to try to get this to look as good as I possibly can. Okay, I'm going to move some stuff out of the way because it is getting a little bit cramped in here. Hello, Cam Rivers. So I'm building a Stalingrad mock here. It's basically just a build. That's what you'd call it in the LEGO community. I'm pretty good at these. I've done them for a while now, but that's probably one of the main things that I do on my channel. I just uploaded a stop motion actually, so can't entirely say that, but yeah, this is the thing that I do most of the time. I build these mocks during these live streams, and then just I get to talk to my viewers, which is always fun. Yeah, they're Legos. I've played Grow a Garden instead of Steal a Brain Rot. I don't play any of the Brain Rot games. I'm not a big fan. I did say that they are a little bit gimmicky. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't know. It's just it doesn't really hook me. It doesn't really interest me in the way that some other games do. Okay, so I'm gonna throw that in there. I might throw down another one of these. What time can you add me? I don't know. I don't really have a lot of friends on Roblox, so I don't really make that a habit. I make that a habit of mine to kind of just play. I got rid of a whole bunch, and I don't know. I don't know. Whenever I'm on, four likes and 14 viewers. We're about halfway through. Thank you for subbing. That's very good for this part of the stream. But we are doing pretty good right now on just the overall atmosphere here. I'm going to try to kind of clean this up, make it look all nice. And then it should be good to move on to something else after I'm done with that. I'm not sure if that's too contrasting, but I kind of do like how it looks, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll just throw that there. Yeah, I like that. It's not horrible. Okay. Just gonna grab a couple of parts in here. Make sure it all looks all right. Hello, RTH Lego. Shoot, I just missed a little bit. What were our all likes? This cool. Wait, do you know how to make a big real car with Lego? I made a tank once, but that's about my extent of Lego building. I'm not a big fan of it. Anytime I try to make like a real car, it just looks a little bit too janky. Not like it would be a real car. I don't know, I'm not really a huge fan of building Lego vehicles. Okay, so I have a couple of parts in this other stop motion that I'm working on, like this. So I'm just gonna rip these off. These will probably be useful when I'm building this. Of course, I hate to do it because that's what I'm gonna be working on next, but I can always take this apart and take some pieces off. Did you know I'm 78 years old? I find that hard to believe, but you know, I can always be surprised, I guess. I don't believe it, but whatever. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just being too hypocritical right now. No, not hypocritical. That's the wrong word. Maybe I'm just being too dubious right now. Yeah, I know. I can't imagine that somebody who plays Steal a Brain Rot is that old. Because that game is for the youngsters. Nice. Okay. So I'm just gonna throw down a couple more of these parts. Throw that there. One more on top. Again, I'm just trying to make this building to look pretty convincing. Make it look decent. Yeah, this is good for likes. This is about where I am normally, so it's always good. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a couple more parts in here, try to get a little pattern going here. I'm not entirely sure how this is gonna turn out. That would probably look pretty good as a brown section. 6, 7. Hilarious. Favorite thing to make with Lego? Probably these, honestly. It's just really fun because it's not a theme that a lot of people look at. Not a theme that a lot of people create. And I'm glad to be part of that small community that does make it. And probably one of my biggest inspirations for these is I'm gonna say 21. Okay, so I'm gonna throw down a couple more parts. Just gonna throw down one of these. And that should be good. I'm gonna add like another layer or two, but otherwise that's basically the building completed. You don't need to go too crazy with stuff like this. Just kind of get it to look decent. And then I'm gonna move on from this because I've spent enough time on it. Maybe just one more layer on top, and then I'm done. Okay, so that's that building basically finished off. I'm pretty happy with it. We're gonna put a sniper on top. When you start, I started about 30 minutes ago, and this is what I've built so far. Of course, I do start with a frame and everything, but the rest of it I'm basically improvising. Oh man, food's coming back up. I'm gonna throw down a couple of parts in here, make sure that this all looks decent. Do I not have those parts here somewhere? 1 second. Okay, so I can probably fill this back part in with a whole bunch of these gray plates because I feel like that would probably be the best fix for this empty space. And of course there's plenty of space to just place stuff back here, but I don't have enough time on these streams to do that, so unfortunately I do just have to fill it in quick. We're up to 5 likes and 4 viewers consistently, so that's pretty good. I'm probably gonna have to end it at 55 because I do have like a sort of time limit thing on this. I gotta go do something or something. It was very insightful. Okay, so that's probably good. I'm gonna make sure that that's all right. Should be fun. I think I'm gonna have another building over here that's kind of been bombed out. And then that's probably gonna be it for this one. Okay. I'm gonna have to finish this off with some better parts here. Actually, you have to be intentional about this. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit more texture up top here. I feel like it just looks a little bit too boring right now. So if I place one of those down, one of those down, it sort of fixes that problem. Of course, you don't want a boring building. That's kind of one of the telltale signs that you don't have enough, like, details in your mock. Normally, you could just cover this stuff up, but I don't really feel like doing that today. I have, like, this post over here that... Do I have any brown snot pieces? If I do, then I will use some. There we go. That can also cover up some missing space, so I'll put that over there. You lift me up. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but thank you, I guess. Okay, so... So I'm just gonna make sure that I have all these parts in here. Maybe throw down one of those. And finally one of those. So that sort of fixes the problem. I'm gonna add in a sort of vine in here that goes across the front of the building. I feel like adding some life into these mocks is always an important step. And I have plenty of foliage to do that with. Thank you, RTH Lego. I think I looked at your stop motions. Is that what you do? And they did look pretty good. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but I think it was stop motions. You know, but throwing that on definitely added a little bit of life to that. So I'm glad that I did that. And I'm going to finish off this back side of this. We are about 40 minutes in, so I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit if I want to get this out on time. I get help from friend, which means, how old did you start building with Lego? Yeah, so that is kind of I wouldn't say a hard question, but I started buying Lego sets when I was about probably, I don't know, 5. I built with like Duplo before then, but that's when I started mainly building those. But I actually started like building with Lego about 11, because like that's where I kind of discovered this whole thing where I could create my own sets and kind of make my own ideas and stories. I made some pretty cool stuff. I think probably my best one around that time was a Pirate Island. And I don't know, I've just kept growing as a builder. So it's always fun to just kind of get better, see your progress, especially since I've started YouTubing about a year ago. It's just been a really fun journey. Alright, I'm going to throw down some more parts in here. Do I have... I might have a part. Again, we're staying at around four viewers, which is always pretty good, especially for these streams. I'm not finding the parts that I need right now. That would probably work if I just find another part or two to throw in there. Yeah, that'll work. So, of course, these wedge plates are useful otherwise, but for now I'm just going to use it for this. Me too, I'm getting better at English. Nice. I do see I think I saw the auto-translate somewhere. But, yeah. I get it. Sometimes like I see a lot of viewers that come on and it's hard for them to type stuff. And they're American, so you're doing pretty good, I believe. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in a couple of parts in here. And that should be decent. I do kind of like how they're angling downwards. It doesn't make it look even, which I feel like is kind of the look I'm going for here. Doesn't have to look perfect. But I'm going to make sure that this is all rounded up. And I'm going to kind of make this top section look a little bit deteriorated. That's where the guy's going to hide. Maybe add some different parts and sections. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do here. Hold up. Hold that thought. Just not type. Yeah, I get it. A lot of people struggle with typing. And I'm one of them. I'm not very good at it, but I don't know. Yeah, this is actually turning out pretty well so far, so I'm happy with how this building is turning out. I feel like it has a lot of character. And that's all well and good. I'm gonna actually dump these parts out because I need to take like closer looks at some of these. Let's see if I can actually get some of them down here. Okay, so I'm gonna have that sort of there. It's gonna kind of be reaching out over that part. And I feel like that will just create some more interesting texture or whatever. Now, normally you could blend these in with some different parts and colors, but I decided not to add any dark tan in here because I'm already running low on it, and I feel like this build doesn't really need it too much. But, of course, that always is an option when you're building stuff like this. I've done it in a couple of my other ones, but I'm just not really feeling like doing it, and I don't have the parts to do it, so I don't know. Okay, so we're back down to 2 viewers, which is not great, but about where I expected this to be at this point. I'm actually going to change that up a little bit. I'm going to add in a dark brown speck because that always looks decent on these buildings. I think I'm going to actually add in another layer on top of that with one of those parts there. And then I'm going to add in, I'm going to put those down on the floor, and I'm going to place down a couple of sandbags in here. Try to add some nice looking texture in here. That does add a really good contrast, actually. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we got those sandbags up there. Let's see if I can place this sniper in here. In his little perch. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So he's kind of up there. I could even add like a collapsed roof over him, something that kind of hides him, but I might do that off camera because we are running really low on time, actually. I might not finish this fully on stream. You deserve more views. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to probably try to detail this section more because that's what I have done right now. Otherwise, I'm going to finish this off stream. But this has been really successful. So I'll probably end this at the 55-minute mark because that's about where I have to leave off, or else this thing will cut out automatically, and I don't know what will happen when it does that, but I don't know. I don't think it would be too bad. Okay, I'm gonna add another tank trap there, but it's looking pretty good right now. So my thinking is I'm gonna probably actually just try to expand this section just till it gets to the sidewalk area where the Germans are gonna be walking up. Because I'm actually really happy with this one. This is probably one of my favorites that I've done in a while. Alright, see ya. Thanks for joining. Thanks for all the nice conversation. Okay, so we're doing pretty well on time. I'll have to finish this off stream, but I was kind of expecting it. This was a larger mock in terms of the buildings and everything, so I don't know. About what I was expecting. I really do like that sniper perch. Of course, it was a little bit confined, but it was close quarters fighting anyways, so about what I'd expect. 6 viewers. We're actually picking it up, so that's all good. I'm gonna try to... I have a couple of parts in here I'm gonna add in. Like a little barrel there, I feel like it looks pretty good with a little shell in it. Okay. I'm going to start this sort of gradient that I'm going to put in here that kind of fades this sidewalk, and I don't know why I said gradient, it's not a gradient. But I'm going to start fading this into the sidewalk. So it'll take me a second to find all these parts. Actually, this is probably going to look pretty good. I'm thinking I'm going to have a little stone wall that kind of goes over here. Germans are going to be approaching behind it, and they're going to try to sort of ambush these soldiers that are kind of waiting there. Six is good. Have you seen my latest stop motion? No, I'll have to check that out when I'm done. Also, thanks for sticking around until the end. You are really helpful. Might give you a shout out or something. I'm not sure. But thank you for sticking around. Okay, I'm gonna throw down probably one more of those parts in there. And that's probably where I'm gonna leave it off here. I feel like that's pretty good. I'm happy with where this is right now. I do like all the details I was able to pack in here. I'm gonna add another building in here, a little wall, and some Germans kind of approaching behind it. But otherwise, I'm very happy with this. So thank you guys for watching. I just hit 50 subs, so I'm trying to hit 100 in the next 2 months. Nice. Anyways, I think that I'm done with this for now. So thank everybody who's watching. Thank you, RTH Lego, for joining and staying basically the whole time. You've been here for a while, so thank you very much. And I will see you guys in the next video when I do eventually finish this. See you guys.